a funny part of the book we're reading, The First Christmas by Crossan and Borg, has to do with the imagery around night and light. So it shows up in like our songs, like "Oh Holy Night" and "Silent Night" and "It Came Upon a Midnight Clear." Those are just three examples of songs that talk about the light. And it's important to think about as we encounter the text in this new way, that is there evidence within the text that Jesus was born at night? Well, I guess the logic goes that Mary and Joseph, in their travels, had to try and find room at the inn or the stable. And so we think, okay, well, they were in the manger overnight. All right. So that might be where that comes from. But actually, the imagery around night and light has more to do with the time of year. So in the text, there's reason to think that Jesus was not born in December. In fact, we know he was probably born in the spring. The shepherds were out in the fields with their flocks, and this, according to historians, was a springtime activity. So the evidence within the text is that he was probably born in the spring. And that's fine because, as it says in the book, Christmas has actually been celebrated at multiple times of year throughout the early centuries. And it wasn't until like the 300s that it was settled on that it would be in December, this week in December. It makes sense too because the imagery fits so well with these dark days and these cold nights, and that the light had come into the world is just magnificent imagery. And this idea happened to line up with some celebrations, some festivals that were already in place. And so they sort of, whether you call it embraced it or amalgamated it or made a hybrid of it, however, adopted it, hijacked it, however you want to talk about that it was a way of integrating this new imagery and celebration into already existing forms. The idea of the winter solstice and German pagan celebrations throws some people off when they think like, well, Jesus wasn't born on December 25th, like that's not actually the day. But we have to be careful because sometimes we get bogged down in our scientific age with details and, let's call them, facticity or historicity of various things, and we miss what is being offered to us or the invitation that exists in the text. The text isn't concerned, either in Luke's story or in Matthew's story, the text isn't concerned with like newspaper accounts or documentation and birth certificates, things like that for verification and validation. The text is an invitation. It is full of imagery that speaks to us even today. It's why the celebration of Christmas resonates with people culturally, even if not religiously, because the imagery is that good. Now, it clearly has migrated from a religious origin, but that original story still calls to the human heart. And people, when they hear it, it resonates with them, something deep down, whether you call it archetypal or primal or ancient, it calls down to the light coming into the world, and to receive that light, like Mary's prayer, her availability, her willingness to be a landing spot, a vessel, a shelter, a womb, to receive the very life of the divine life to be born in us again today. I love the imagery, and I get discouraged, or I don't know, when people get distracted by things that are modern concerns, and they miss that in these ancient stories, we are offered an invitation to be that place where the light comes in to the dark and where the divine is born again in our open hearts. I hope that you are enjoying this. We have a couple more of these as we build towards Christmas. Let me know your thoughts.